Okay, so we are recording. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Eric Cabrera. I am 27, 28 years old. I live in Hackensack, Bergen County. I've been living here for the past 3 years or so. I used to live very close to Hackensack in Bogota, so I've been pretty much in the area for quite over 10 years.
Okay. And how is what is your relation to the LGBT community?
So I am a gay man, openly gay man, and I have a husband as well, who is open as well. Both the families knows, so that kind of we're really into just being open, um, and we like to have a community where being open is not an issue.
Yeah. And so can I ask you, have you experienced anything as an open LGBT person where having a resource center could have provided you with resources or anything? It could have been a service to you. Do you have any?
Yeah, so I'm gonna split into two different ones, right? Because I work with our community, I work in the social work field. There is a time where I need resources and there are none, or if they are, I don't know about them, right? So when I do have clients who are either young, 18, 19, a little bit older, having a center that I could send someone to where I know for a fact they will be received without having the whole gay issue appear. So, for example, if it was a doctor or a counselor or someone that has a referral, they would have to go in there with the fear of that being gay could be an issue, right? Or any pronouns or any misgendering or any um, pronouns where I know that it could happen. So that would be extremely helpful, but we don't have it, which really does limit us on how I can serve the community. Because I know that I can do a good job, but if I send it to someone that is not part or a referral from my LGBT center, I don't know if they're gonna be received appropriately. Right. So it's like a gamble. So every time we're here, every time I'm sending clients out somewhere, it's always a gamble. Right. And I have to actually pre-counsel the a client to say, hey, just so you know, if you experience anything or you hear anything that's weird or like wrong or like homophobic or anything, I just say you have to live in it immediately because I need to know that. Right. But if you had a center, it would kind of eliminate that problem, right, automatically. Now, personally, having a center would be really helpful in the sense of like I can have access to services in my community that I could possibly use for my personal life, whatever that might be, or more social events, right, or community-based events where I can meet more people that are like me, or include more people like family members or allies, right, so I can have a more sense of safety, right? Because even though I have been living in Bogota for a long time and Hackensack recently, it is not always safe per se, right? There's always gonna be that fear that someone could say something. So just knowing that I have a place that I could go and meet others like me makes it much better. Because I know they're gay men or married gay men like myself. I used to know where they are or where they hang out, where spots they want to hang out. They're LGBT friendly, right? So that's kind of what I think the resource center will provide such a more safety issue, a more comfort issue, and then allow families to also come in, right? And if family comes in, then you have children that come in that are exposed to what gay culture is, right? What LGBTQ culture is in a more positive manner. And that's kind of where I think that and that used to really help. Even though now it's really tough as I go around, it's like there is no pivotal point in this county that says, okay, that's a place that I could go to. There really isn't. Right. There's not any places for friends to go, for families to go, for me and my friends to go. And I think having one would be really, really life changing. Nothing for me to support either. Right. If I want to support something, I have to leave the county. If I want to support my community, I have to go outside. Maybe I have to go to New York. Maybe I have to go all the way to Atlantic City or something like that. Right. It's never really local. Right. And I wish that would be different because I think it will be much helpful for everyone that lives in this county.
Yeah. Yeah, and you bring up some good points. As a professional working in the field, how it'd be valuable to not have to do that extra step, and in terms of counseling the client, and then in terms of, having to do the resource, finding those resources yourself, having that connector would make you much more effective as a professional.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. Like, what if I want to have kids, right?
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. But I'll give you a really good example. So as you know, I work in the community law, so I work with the Planned Parenthood. I was sitting at Planned Parenthood and I see someone that walks in, they want a resource, right? So just imagine if we had an LGBT center, the resource is like down the street, let's say, right? It's here, right? I asked her, the person left, and then I asked the person, hey, like, they were asking about transgender services, right? So then I went back and I asked the front lady, I was like, hey, so I need resources too. Like, what are the closest one that you send your people? And when I looked at the referral and she gave me that resource, it was all the way in Pennsylvania. It was in PA. And I was like, that person that walked into this door, I'm gonna have to go literally to another state, literally all the way to PA just to get a service related a, to transgender, right? And then the other one was like in New York, right? Like
Yeah.
we all know that they have that. So I thought that was kind of like, it's almost like we live in this county, but people want to push us out. They're like, you gotta go somewhere else. You gotta just get away, like go over there, and for someone that wants to accept themselves or go into the process, that might be the only choice. Like if I can't be myself here, I can't get stuff that I need here, so I gotta go, right? And for me, that's again a disservice, right? If someone feels like they're in a community, they will stay here and we can all thrive together.
Yeah.
So when you brought that point up, it was a little bit, and that was actually me just waiting for my appointment. It wasn't even like a professional. It's me waiting for an appointment at Planned Parenthood, and I just happened to experience that, where I was like, wow, like this poor person has to go far away
Yeah.
to get something as simple as pills. And I'll tell you another story that I think is very important. Is that when I had a friend who was asking me for like a referral, right, for someone that does the hormone medications, right? Um, so I talked to a doctor. I talked to a doctor that we both go to, and she gave me a referral. And I called them. I asked, hey, like, do you guys have any issue taking transgender patients? Like, I don't like the straight up. Um, the lady said, of course, I don't see a problem. I mean, who cares? It's like a patient's a patient. But then the patient called, and then she told me a different story, right? So kind of like I was saying before about having a center that I can guarantee safety, I am 100% sure that that patient called and she got a different lady. I don't think it was the same lady, right? Because there's different
Yeah.
people that work at the front, right? So
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure she got the transphobic one. Uh, and then they were said no to them, right?
Yeah.
So that's when I feel like, well, if they was in a center, this we wouldn't have this issue
Yeah.
because that process will be eliminated.
Yeah.
So that kind of goes to prove that in Bergen County we're not there yet, and
Yeah.
I wish that we were.
And can I also touch on other facets of your background and career, professional career with sexual assault, or you know therapy. You work as you're a therapist.
Yes.
So I mean, like, what is the reality that people are missing for LGBT people in that scenario?
All right. So I have to break it down to three different categories only because it's not just a general one. First, it would be with, let's say, adult gay males, right? Most of them, or a few of them, right, that I have encountered, are more likely to go to an LGBT space to kind of seek that story.
Oh, you froze. No, you froze. Let me pause it. Oh, there you are. Sorry, you
Okay,
froze.
it's okay. It's like I was saying, so adult males, like if they go to an LGBT center, they're more likely to like share that experience of assault, right?
Yeah.
Compared to a non-LGBT space, right? as we working at, I realized that a lot of times gay males don't see what happened to them as abuse. I have countless times people describe to me a scenario of sexual assault that for me as a professional, like, oh, that sounds like that was not consensual, right? But they portray as something different, like either victim blaming themselves, like, oh, I wanted it, or, he was hot, so I went in that situation, so it's whatever, it's not a big deal, right? Leaving that as it may, is still that person still experienced violence, right? Then we go to the next category when it comes to reporting, right? When a male reports an instance of abuse, the police or another governing body might not necessarily see it as high in danger as if it was a woman, right? So they see two males, they're like, oh, there's not that sense of urgency is not the same, right? Because those police personnel might not be trained how to deal with an LGBT couple, and that includes both men and women, right? Oh, it's a woman, like there's that urgency is not like there, but when it comes to the gender roles. And if we were gonna go deeper, we can start talking about what is if it's a transgender person or non-binary persons reporting the case, right? Are the police ready to react to that, to deal with that, to take it seriously? Some of them might not be.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things where I see a lot of just violence and abuse that happens, but there's nowhere for them to go. There's no resources for them to access after that.
Yeah. And just to make that clear with in regards to police, we have lots of really amazing detectives that are doing that good work and getting that kind of training. But once again, it's a hit or miss. You don't know
It
who you're
depends on the
getting.
town. It
Yeah.
depends on the town.
Depends on the
You know,
town. It
the
depends
town.
on, so many different factors. So you can have someone that's amazing, or you can have someone that's going to end up arresting you for how dare you come here and complain.
Or do nothing at all, right? Because a lot of times that's to happen, like do nothing at all. And that's just
Yeah.
bad, at least
Yeah.
for me, right? So it really depends on the town, depends where it happens, depends on the county overall. So it just, but again, it's not secure, right? If we had a place that was secure, that person would have support from beginning to end, where they can go and say, okay, it's happened to me. These are the resources you can access, and you'll have a point where like, okay, these people believe me, rather than feeling alone, dealing with all the stuff by themselves,
Yeah.
right? So kind of like the advocacy part that we're lacking almost for our LGBT youth and our older LGBT.
Awesome. All right. So just to clarify, you're giving consent to have this.
Yes, I do. You can take it. It's
And you
fine.
can use it in public because the purpose of
That's
this
okay.
is to make it public at some point, so we
Yes.
can raise awareness to issues that people are dealing with. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. I
Yeah.
get complete consent. You can use it for the better of the world.
Well, hopefully someone will listen to what we're saying because the other part is, you mentioned LGBT and people, there's a switch, they turn it off and like that's not a real issue. Why are you bothering me? We've given you marriage equality. Why are you still talking?
Like,
You know?
we need way more than that, right? Like, and we do. There's so many things that we have to that we get us. We're the last on the list,
Yeah.
right? Last on the list.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think it's a good place to wrap it up. I just wanted to say thank you. Amazing information. Thank you for your time. And is there anything else you want to put out there before we hang up?
No, just thank you so much, and I wish you that the best. I believe in your work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.